Welcome to the Ordinary Marathoner Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Ordinary Marathoner Podcast. My name is Coach Scott. I'll be your host today. It is Monday, March 8th. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Pretty productive weekend here. I mean, on the training front, it could have been better. I got everything done. It just didn't feel like a really great weekend. Trying to get a lot of work done, with the foundation and all this new stuff. We got a lot going on. Obviously, I've been talking about the hats. We're going to give you an update on the hats. We're going to give you a daily update on the hats until they're all out of my house. By the way, I was riding the bike the other day, and my YouTube channel was still up from the Thursday night ride. And I'm watching some of the podcasts, and I couldn't believe how much I talk with my hands. How much these hands move. I talk, they move. My shoulders go up and down. It's like I'm like Ronnie Dangerfield here. In my defense, I am a quarter Italian, so I think there's a genetic thing involved there. But I was kind of a little bit shocked at how much I move my hands while I talk. And, it's probably a good thing because you get that kind of like that stuffy 1960s sort of newscaster where they kind of sit there and they don't move at all. That kind of Murrow / Larry King kind of body type that just they sit still. I don't know. I never want to be like that. I kind of, we record the podcast as a podcast, and the YouTube is sort of just an additional way that you can watch it. So it's good that instead of just sitting there and being, unanimated, I do offer a little bit more on the visual podcast. So if you're not watching on the YouTube channel, maybe you should switch over. But anyway, the boxes are here. There were 15 at first. Now we've whittled it down to 10. And I've got a lot of complaints. Do we have enough time to complain about the U.S. Postal Service? So I set up 2 accounts on the USPostalService.com. I set up a Team Ordinary account for that business and also for the Ordinary Marathoner Foundation. Now, I was uploading the addresses, and initially I was going to, they do offer like a CSV upload, and I was going to do that. And then I just realized, I kind of figured out that, it's a little... if one thing goes wrong with the upload, right? If one thing goes, then you're going to have to fix it. And I just had 15 addresses to kick out. I could do this by hand, so I did it. I did it by hand, uploaded all of your addresses one by one, by hand. I did that on Friday, and I was ready to go, man. I had and it wouldn't take my credit card. My credit card works. Credit card works. I've used it other places. It's fine. I'm not broke. I'm not a deadbeat. The credit card works. It just doesn't work on the USP. I couldn't figure it out. And so I tried it on the other site, on my other account. So I typed out all 15 addresses, tried it on the other account. It didn't work again. All right. So now, mind you, my options are this. I can take these boxes and walk them into the post office, write the addresses on everyone. And for whatever reason, whenever I do that, it always costs more. It costs more. So I figured I'd do it online. So I do it online in USPS, and I measured the boxes, I put them through, and all of them, when the total came out, it's less money to do it, to print the label home and just go and drop off the boxes as opposed to waiting online. So many more benefits. Why don't people do this? I don't know. It just seemed like that's the way to go, except for they wouldn't take my card. So I was going to call and talk to somebody, but you know how it is when you call these days. There's no such thing as customer service when you call anymore. It's automated menu after menu after menu. You can't figure out which one to go to. And after 19 choices, sometimes they hang up on you, or you get somebody that has no idea what's going to happen. I know what's going to happen. The post office is going to blame my bank. My bank is going to blame the post office. I'm going to get nowhere, right? I'm going to make 3 hours worth of phone calls to figure out a problem that should not even exist in the first place. So then I went to PayPal, because I do shipping labels on PayPal in the past too. And I run them through PayPal, and now I'm typing in the addresses again, doing them one by one. That's how we got the 5 of them out, and PayPal's even cheaper. And I'm thinking, and I'm sorry, I know one of our listeners, Travis, worked for the U.S. Postal Service, but man, you know why you guys have like $1 billion budget shortfalls every single year? Maybe it's because if you walk in and say hello and drop off your package, it costs one amount. If you do the labels online, A, it's frustrating. B, you're not even accepting my payment, even though my card works. And C, it costs a completely different amount. And then C, if I go to a third party, PayPal, which obviously has fees involved, I'm sure there are fees involved, it costs even less. So what is going on here? What is going on here? Mismanagement left and right. I don't know. All I know is I got 5 boxes out. There's 10 still to go. I'll be doing them all on PayPal. There you go. Sorry, Travis. I don't mean to go off on your employer. It just frustrated me all weekend, and I still have 10 boxes here. I'll give you an update every single podcast until they are gone. I promise you that. Now let's talk about some good things. Let's talk. Let's change the vibe. All right, changing the vibe. We're gonna change it up. Go to the good things. I buried this in the show last week. I promised I was going to bring it back. Joe Caniano, I want to thank you for becoming our latest patron on patreon.com/ordinarymarathoner. I think this was the case as of the last donation on Patreon, the last patron we got. But this show is now paid for. It's fully supported by the listeners. We have our data host costs, our web host costs, our domain costs. We have a filter that we pay for that we put all the audio through the filter to even it out and make sure it doesn't sound really bad. It takes out some of the fuzz sometimes if there is some. It does a pretty good job. It doesn't catch everything, all the mistakes, but it does level it out. And anyway, that all those costs that are related to the podcast production, you guys cover those for us. And I got to tell you that having that support feels really good. It feels really good. Steph and I thank you guys for that. And again, if you want to become a patron, just go to patreon.com/ordinarymarathoner. I tell you, I wasn't even going to do the Patreon. I was kind of skeptical on the Patreon. I didn't know how it would feel. But it's been pretty good for us. It's been pretty good. So, and thank you guys. Thank you guys for becoming patrons. And your hats are on the way. They're here. They're on their way. All you patrons. What else we got going on here? Oh, another piece of good news. Debbie Early from Team Ordinary, our good friend, our good board member of the Ordinary Marathoner Foundation, ran an actual race today. She had the race on the race. She ran it over the weekend. She had the race on our Team Ordinary race calendar. And I think this was the first one. It might have been the second one, but I can't really remember that far back to January. Those memories have been erased. But I think, this is the first one in a while. Someone who put a race on the race calendar and it actually got done. She went down and ran a 10K in Texas with her sister, Michelle, I believe. And congratulations, guys. It's awesome to see. I did also see, I think I saw Keith Jones out there getting a race done, a 5K over the weekend. Congratulations, Keith. I think that's awesome. Let's get those races on the race calendar. I know, this was a major part of Team Ordinary when we constructed it about a year and a half ago, was to get the races on the race calendar and to be able to say, to wish you guys good luck as you got into race weekend, and also to congratulate you when you finished. Now, obviously with the COVID, everything fell through. There were just races that none of the races were getting done. And now it's like a glimmer of hope. Things are starting to come back. And it's good to see. It's a feel good thing, guys. It's a feel good thing to watch you guys earning medals and getting out there and getting things done again. And I know that there's been some races. There's been little scatterings of races all over the place. I know that the trail races have been going, but it's just nice to have a race that was on the calendar that got through, that got done, and we were able to kind of bring it up on the podcast and talk about it. Let's revive that. A number of you guys, I've talked about it on the podcast before. A number of you guys have gone on the page and updated your race calendar. I love to see it. We've been updating. I think we are up to date with the page now. It's all good to go. So really 3 things on the Team Ordinary front. Number 1, if you don't remember, if you're on Team Ordinary, if you're a member of Team Ordinary, you can go to that teamordinary.com, look at the roster, and if your name is there, you're on the team. And if it's not, then you're not. But if you're not, you can always join the team. There's ways to do it. You can go to the shop. There's I think it's like a little over $50, but you get the hat, you get the shirt. I'm not really making money off this, guys. I'm not. But yeah, all that good stuff you get, and you become a member of the team. You get a bio page. This is number 2. So I had 3 points. Number 2 was the bio page. If you had the bio page and it's kind of like over, or outdated, which it's been a year and a half, so it might be outdated, feel free to update that thing. We get those things manually, and I can update it on, I'll see it come in as an email, and then I'll be able to kind of copy and paste it and go through it quickly. I don't yet have the capability for you to kind of log in and update your page on your own. So when you hit that submit button, it won't refresh automatically. It's a manual process. I'm working on that. It's also, there's there's hacking issues, potential hacking issues and privacy issues that I don't like to go through with that. So for now, it's a manual process. We're going to kind of keep that going forward until we have the scope where we're able to kind of just give you your own page and have you update things on your own. Pictures and all that good stuff. So yeah, so you can update your bio. And again, we were reading some of the bios on the show out loud, and I'm not averse to doing that. So if you submit your bio, we can contemplate whether or not we want to read that online, and I'm happy to do that at a certain point too. So update your bio. Number 3, update your race schedules. Just go on there, throw your races in there. I know Stephanie Brown, you got a gazillion races that you always do down in Florida. Keith Jones is always doing tons of races. Let's see him. Let's see him up on the schedule. And I think it helps people. It helps people for a few ways. Number 1, it gives them a little bit of hope now that we're rolling back into race season. We're going to have some races happening. I know some races are still, they're postponing or they're canceling, but we are seeing some races happening now. So it's good to see. It's a feel good thing for our sport, I think. And I think in the past, that race schedule it wasn't just a spot to just kind of brag about your races, but other people can congratulate you. They can reach out. I know people travel, people look for other races to do, and that there were occasions in some occasions, 2 people were doing the same races. They didn't even know. And all of a sudden we have ordinary meetup at these races. People are traveling to different places and meeting each other. And that's really good to see that we can bring people together that way. I love to see it. Foundation update. So that's the 3 things. Number 1, see if you're on the team. Number 2, update your bio. Number 3, submit your races. We'll get Team Ordinary back up and running the way it was meant to be all along. An update with the foundation. Our launch last week, so successful, guys. So successful. And it's kind of, I mentioned this on Friday. It's kind of dialed up the pressure on me a little bit. I feel, but I feel like you guys are awesome. We have a really great support staff here, people working really, really hard to do really, really good things. And that's kind of like the motto, do good things. Now it's time to do good things. And we have our kids running clinic that's getting ready to go in the fall. And we have Scott Frassard's autistic assistance runner and training program that's going to be coming out, we hope, in April. Just a lot of work to be done. We're doing it. We are doing it. It's just kind of like spurred our motivation a little bit, kind of like got us really focused on the work at hand, trying to roll out things so that you can know that your donation is going to good things, going to do good things. That's what I mean. But we'll have specifics and all that stuff kind of rolling out on the webpage, on the website in the next couple of days, and you'll be able to see firsthand how we're working with that stuff. We raised $3,400 in our first week. And again, all of you guys, thank you so much. And I did not expect that much money to come in. I did not expect to feel the way I feel about those donations. I kind of it was sort of like we created this nonprofit. Yeah, we have wonderful people there. Yeah, they're going to donate because they're awesome people. And I kind of seeing it come in and seeing the names and seeing the numbers and seeing all this stuff grow it was such a confirmation that what we're doing is right. And that, we've earned your trust and your faith in us to do the right things. And man, it's going to work. This is going to be a great thing. It is really going to be a great thing. And just the conversations I've had with people over the last week, have been so productive and helpful. So be on the lookout for wonderful, amazing things from the Ordinary Marathoner Foundation going forward. And the last bit of news item is our race, Ordinary Marathon. We're going to, this race, we're going to have sort of an official relaunch of the race coming in the next week or 2. If you did the half marathon back in November, you are already registered. If you want to know if you're already registered, reach out to me. In fact, we'll probably send you guys emails just to confirm so you don't re-register by accident. But now this race becomes, it really, the structure of the race changes. And we're probably going to talk about this in the relaunch a little bit more in depth. But obviously you guys can see what's happening, right? It was a privately run race that donated to charity. And now we are going to be a charity race raising money for a charity. So the race itself becomes a fundraiser, a nonprofit fundraiser, which means your additional donations when you register, those become tax exempt. So you can kind of put those off on your taxes. We can send you receipts for those donations. One of the things I'm looking forward to is our sponsors. Our sponsors, when they become sponsors, those are now tax exempt gifts to a nonprofit as opposed to basically a donation to a for-profit company who then turned around and used that money either for for the production of our race or to then donate to charity. We never made money on this, and you guys trusted us, and we took your trust seriously. That's why we did it. We tried to do the video every year where we would go and hand over the check to the SAM Fund. We were able to do that 2 years ago. Last year, because of COVID, we were not able to do that. Couldn't do a lot of things in person. So we were unable to do that, but the money did go. The check is there. If you guys need any confirmation of that, you can always reach out to me personally. Happy to send you a copy of that canceled check so you know. But now we're a nonprofit. So all that stuff is going to be public. All that stuff is going to be public information for you to find out. And I think it brings a lot of strength to the structure of the race, and we're really looking forward to that. If you haven't signed up for the race already, go to ordinarymarathon.com. I got a lot of work to do on that website to kind of make those changes and show those changes, but it's coming. It's coming, and it's just another exciting piece to the puzzle. And I got to tell you, over the weekend, that was a lot of where my thinking was at just at the general thing that we've created here, right? At first, it was just the podcast. And it was just personal training, and it was guests coming on the podcast and just chatting. And then all of a sudden it was a video, and it was a charity race because we built the community online. We had all these people that were generous and willing to give and wanted to be involved. And then it was Team Ordinary and getting people together there. And now it's a nonprofit on top of that. It's so much. The structure is there for this to become just such a great sort of one of our board members today said, "Oh, we're going global because we got donations from Canada." So she's like, "Oh, we're going global," and I was like, "Yeah, that's all." I always had a thing for when I was at work, and people would give me a business card, and it had the word global head of finance, global head of this. It's like, how obnoxious is the word global? And so if you're listening and you're a global head of something, seriously contemplate what that means, because it's obnoxious to call yourself the global head. You're just the boss, just, head of finance. Why do you need the term global head? Why not go bigger? Galactic head of finance, right? I mean, geez, if you do, why stop at the globe? Why not go, I mean, no one says like national head, right? National head of finance. No one says like but global head, those are words that really sound wonderful. I think they're obnoxious. I used to laugh. Like, why stop at global? Universal head. Why not? Universal. And is there a global head of Universal Studios, maybe? I don't know. Does that make sense? I don't know. I just thought it was obnoxious. But now that we're number one, by the way, for those of you who donated from Canada, there is a process that we're going through to make sure that we can accept those donations. We don't know quite honestly. We don't know yet whether or not we can accept them. So they're kind of sitting in limbo. While we appreciate the generosity and the support for sure, we have to make sure that legally we can do those things. So we're working on it. I guarantee it. It's funny, the things that you trip over the, not trip over, but come across, I guess, as you're developing new things and going through new things. So we are working on it. And we expect everything to be good with that, but got to dot our I's, cross our T's. No one needs to be heading off in an orange jumpsuit. That's for sure. At least it would be like golf camp, prison. That's what those white collar criminals. White collar criminal life probably isn't so bad. I don't know. It might be a step up. I probably miss my kids though. Anyway. I'm just kidding. I know IRS, you guys listening, we're on the up and up. We're working hard. I promise you. No, there is no staff that works harder than my staff when it comes to making sure that everything's on the up and up. Anyway, let's talk about training. All right. I know I've been yapping here for over 10 minutes. Is it? Yeah. Oh, 18 minutes. Let's talk about training. My training was it was blah this weekend. It happened. The boxes got checked. It just, there was nothing really, there was nothing exciting about it. Friday night, we did our Friday 5. So our 5K race. It's one of those things. The weekends are tough. It's not the weekends. The Friday nights are tough. The 8 p.m. start for me is tough because we eat dinner as a family. We try to get together and eat dinner as a family. And doing a race and running hard after I eat a big meal is always just a challenge. I've done it a couple times. But on this day in particular, we had some pasta. We had that farfalle. You like the farfalle? It's one of my favorites. The little bow ties. We had the farfalle with some turkey meatballs. And, it's a good meal to kind of fuel your weekend long runs and long rides and stuff like that. But it's not a good meal to eat like, an hour and a half before a run. And I learned that not necessarily the hard way, but hard enough. I knew I wasn't going to be able to sustain any kind of PR pace. So the idea was to get on there and check the box. I set the pace kind of low for what I've been doing lately. I finished about 33 minutes. Happy I finished. Good workout. Good thing to do. Check the box. No PR. But you know what? You don't have to race yourself every weekend. We've talked about that before too. You don't want to race yourself all the time. You don't want to set new records all the time. It might just be overtraining, overuse, and I need to avoid that. I don't need injury. No injury, please. Saturday. Moving on to Saturday. Saturday was kind of weird for me because we had to get out of the house by 9:30 to do something with my daughter Ellie. We wanted to do it as a family. And that means if I was thinking about riding 2 hours and 45 minutes. I had to get up super early in order to do that. So we did start a ride. I think we started at 6:30, maybe 6:15, 6:30. I don't know. Joe Caniano showed up. Todd Seiden showed up. Thank you guys so much for making the ride palatable for me. It's funny. We don't do a lot of talking because I think we can all kind of zone out and watch some TV. I watched the end of 1917. Good movie, by the way. Really good movie. I started watching some YouTube videos. I'm not going to talk about it because I'm upset with the channel because they put too much commercials in their stuff. It's like every 5 minutes I'm hit with a commercial. Anyway, I wound up riding 2 hours and then I gave up. It was an early give up. I pulled the plug early. I wasn't feeling it. I don't know why, but for the last, I enter a new stage, right? And as a coach, I use this term with some of my athletes. You have to, and this is a general term. It's not. I don't own this term. I've heard it through many other coaches. Get comfortable. You have to practice. You have to get comfortable. Get comfortable being uncomfortable. Right? You've all heard that phrase. Get comfortable being uncomfortable. I hit this time about an hour and 45. It's like clockwork, and all of a sudden it gets uncomfortable. It gets uncomfortable in a lot of ways. My legs get fatigued. My quads feel sore and tired. They don't feel like they want to push anymore, even though they can. I get sort of like saddle sore pains. It's not necessarily sores, but it's just pressure, and it doesn't feel good. It makes it very uncomfortable to be on the saddle, and I don't like being there anymore. It's like it goes from being a nice, fun ride to being just miserable. And it goes there. It's very quick turn over, too. Now, in the middle of a race, this is something that you just suck it up and you finish, right? But on a weekend when you're sitting home and you're on the trainer and you're miserable, it's easier to pull the plug. Unfortunately for me, I did that. Now I've done some rides that are like 2.5 hours and 2 hours and 15. I've done some rides of that nature recently. I wanted to get 2:45 done on Saturday. I did 2 hours. I'm a little disappointed in myself. I do think that maybe I could have and it's funny, I knew when I got off the bike, I knew I would say this to myself, that I would be disappointed and struggle with the outcome of that ride. Not happy with it. It was a tougher course. It was Everything Bagel is the course. It's in New York. I needed the badge, so I figured I'd do that one. And maybe that's part of the problem. Maybe I really just need to kind of just set the output at a certain level and just go with that for a while and not be faced with all the hills. And maybe that's part of I mean, granted, real life, you're going to face hills, right? Real life, you're going to have to adjust on the fly. You're not going to be on the same output level, the same power level the whole ride. So it's a little more realistic by including some of the hills. But some of the hills on this course were just really ridiculous and annoying, frustrating, and a lot of work to get up them. So I think next week what I'm going to try to do, I'll probably try to do the 2:45 again. I don't know how I'm going to try to motivate myself. We're going to work on that during the week. It could be that I just find a new course that I haven't done that's a little bit longer, and then that way I have a course to follow. So this course I finished in like an hour and a half, and I got the badge and I was happy. So maybe I choose a course that will take longer to finish, and then that way I could use that as motivation to finish the course. I could also, try to come up with more movies to watch, more things to get through that I know that in order to finish this, I need to be on the bike for 2 hours and 45 minutes. That's the goal for next week. I did get off the bike. I got it off at 2 hours, pretty much flat. I rode 27.7 miles, 2,400 feet of elevation. That's what it is. And then Sunday was long run day. And I told you about this one. We were going to, I think the plan was if I didn't really live up to expectations on Saturday, I was going to try to run long on Sunday, but I just wasn't feeling that either. So I backtracked to 8 miles. And I got to tell you, I felt awful. I felt awful on the run too. At 4 miles, I contemplated quitting. And it was perseverance. It was perseverance to get through to that 8 miles. I did jack up the speed a little bit. So, whereas on my longer runs, my 10-mile run, my 11-mile run, my speed was right around 11-minute miles, maybe slightly through that, 10:50, something like that. This one I picked up the pace. I finished it in an average pace of 10 minutes and 13 seconds for 8 miles. I did that intentionally because I wanted to I knew that, this was a shorter run. I was going to get done a little faster. I'd done 10 and 11 miles, so I figured I could try to go a little faster, and I did. So I do feel good about the speed portion. Historically, it's not up to like my best for that distance. I think in the past I've done 9-minute miles for a half marathon. So I'm building back up to that. I'm trying to kind of, move that forward, move the dial forward. All in all, I mean, look, I shouldn't be, I should be a little upset at myself from the weekend. I don't know. I'm not really upset with the Sunday run. I should be happy that I was able, I faced a lot of adversity at mile 4. I really did. I just wanted to quit. I just didn't want to be there. No one was in the house. It wasn't like I had things to do or places to go. I didn't want to run anymore. And I did fight through it. I fought through it. There was, a little bit of motivation to get through it because I was running this new run course that I didn't, again, to run, you need the badge for Zwift, that kind of thing. But I do think that next week, if the weather is okay, we're going outside. It's time to go back outside. It's time to stop sitting on this treadmill, and worry about the treadmill. Time to, see how the treadmill translates to outside for a longer run. I have a few things on my mind. I'm going to check the weather as the week progresses and see about that. But we've got to get outside. I'm telling you. The plan was actually to get outside on Sunday. And then it turns out that my 11-year-old Sam was coming back, and I wasn't sure whether or not she was going to get dropped off or not. So I couldn't, and I was the only one in the house. So someone had to be here. So I was like, all right, I either have to wait until she gets there, and she didn't get there till late, and I wouldn't have been able to go outside in the light anyway. It would have been dark, or just go down the treadmill and get it done. And that's what I did. I sometimes I get annoyed that I love the treadmill so much. I don't mind the treadmill as much. But it's there for those reasons. So I guess I shouldn't be that upset about it. The work got done. 8 miles done. Faced a little bit of adversity there in the head, and mental adversity, and not wanting to get it done, not wanting to do it at all. But I fought through it, and I got the 8 miles done. So it's not the greatest run in the world, but I'll take it, and I'll definitely take the pace at 10:15 or 10:13, whatever it was, and move forward from there. And we'll try to get an outdoor run, I think, this weekend. That's kind of the goal. All right. We're going to wrap it up there. We're coming across the end of time anyway here. I yapped for way too long today. This weekend, we got our Monday run. If you want an invite to that on Zwift, let me know. Ron set that up, I think, just as we were talking on the podcast here. Tuesday morning, we'll do our 5 a.m. ride. Probably also do our 6 a.m. ride, continuing with our workout series. We're doing that L'Etape du Tour program. I think we start phase 4, which is a very difficult phase. It's the final phase of this program we've been doing now for like 4 months. So looking forward to getting into that and seeing how difficult that one is. And that's all I got. Remember, if you want to add your name to the scroll, that's coming in about 5 seconds. You got to go to patreon.com/ordinarymarathoner and lend us your support. Support is always appreciated. Thank you guys for supporting the show. And remember, every day is an ordinary day unless you make it extraordinary. So get after it, guys.